Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the mock interview series with UiPath aspirant. For the people who are looking this series for the first time, in this series I am taking mock interview for candidate based on their resume, their experience and their skill set. Please note that this is just a mock interview. It is not for any client, any customer or any of the job opportunities. The format of the mock interview is absolutely simple. The candidate send me the resume. I set up some time. I take the mock interview and all the confidential details such as the name, the company name, the project information, everything remains confidential with me. Even the name which you see in the mock interview is changed. So you do not have to worry about any of the details. Once I receive the interview, I hide the details, we take the interview. At the end, I guide the candidate that what are the topics he needs to improve upon, and I also provide the feedback on the interview so that they can perform well in their live interview. In terms of cost, the cost of the mock interview is absolutely free for you. You don't have to pay me anything. You just have to send me your resume and we can set up a common time and I conduct a mock interview for you. In case your experience match this mock interview, you can go ahead and watch. But in case you are coming from a different experience, you can go back to the playlist. There we have a couple of mock interviews which are already taken. You can watch them, get some insight, and hopefully that should be helpful in your next interview. If you want to appear for such a mock interview, all you have to do is just drop me an email on the email ID which is available in the description. Having said that, let's get started with today's mock interview. Okay, great. So thank you for joining today, Akhil. So I have your resume with me. I'm going to take the mock interview for you. The format of the mock would be simple. I would be asking question based on a resume. You answer that, and at the end, I'm going to tell you the answers to the question you answered incorrectly and the areas you need to improve upon. Okay.
Yes.
So let's get started by having a quick introduction about yourself.
Okay, so about myself, I am Akhil, and about my experience, I have 4.2 years of experience, and completely in the UiPath. Uh, Totally in the UiPath, means I started my career of a solution, and after that joined and currently working with the and in this 4.2 years I goes through many processes end to end, and also 7 to 8 process I have lived in that time. And currently I am working with uh, a process named patient extraction claim status. So it was just on the reframework based project which I worked on. So I have good hands-on experience in the REF process, web automation, PDF automation, document understanding. I have good experience, and in these areas, I made the bots, and uh, in these 4 years, I have uh, goes to many processes and develop many processes in the UiPath. So from my side, this is all.
Great. And have you done any kind of certification, the paid one?
Uh, I'm not get the paid one certification, but
Mhm.
all the free up certification which provided by the UiPath, I have got all one.
Okay, understood. And out of this 7 to 8 process, Akhil, right now, I want you to explain me any one of the process, right? It can be the one which you are just talking or any other process which you know end to end, right? Just let me know
Yes.
what was the problem statement your automation was trying to resolve and how did you technically solve the problem?
Yes. Okay. So about the problem statement, my process was on. We have to just extract the claim status of the multiple patients we have to extract all the information if the particular patient is active or not active. We have to check the eligibility verification of the patient. After that, we have, if the patient is active, then we have to extract the some records of the patient, just how many amount he or she will be paid, or is he already paid it. Then we need to extract all the information from the patient records, and then maintain a output sheet, and where we have to just share the information to the client on the daily basis.
Understood. This is an attended or it's an unattended process?
It is attendant process.
And how does the user trigger the process?
Uh, the process is triggered on the daily basis when we log in on a specifically web portal, and where we have the bot should download the inventory from the portal,
Mhm.
and after downloaded all the inventories, then make some filtration and make some merging option, then make the workable inventory, and after that it will process one by one.
Okay, so when you say it's an attended robot, right? So does the user is the user starting this process from the UiPath assistant?
Uh, okay. So it is mm, when we this process is in the unattended mode, not in the attended mode. Yes.
Okay, this is an unattended, right? So basically,
Ye-
so okay, this is built on RE framework, right?
Yes.
Okay, and can you tell me what is the transaction item here?
Transaction item is a particular patient with the we need to read the input file.
Mm-hmm.
Then after it will uh, process the data with the particular patient name or patient ID number.
Okay, so you are adding the data to the queue, right?
Yes.
Okay, and how is the dispatcher scheduled at what time?
Uh, Timing is on the daily basis in the morning, where dispatcher when we download the inventory, and it will be form in the Excel file. All the data is extracted in the Excel file. Then we need to add the queue items from the input file,
No, no,
and
no.
after
So
adding.
when you say we, means the business has to manually go and download the data and then add to the queue?
No, it's the whole process is through the
Yeah.
UiPath.
Okay, so what time the
Yes.
dispatcher is scheduled, right? Let's say 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, from the morning we start.
Now, what time you have? What time it is scheduled, right? 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
It's 7 to 8, in between 7:30, around 7:30 a.m.
Okay,
in
so
the morning.
7:30 a.m. the dispatcher will run. It will go to that web portal, extract the patient information, and add it to the queue, right?
Added to the queue.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many items you are adding to the queue in one run?
On the daily basis, it's depend on the inventory,
Mm-hmm.
how many inventory it will be fetched to the portal on the daily basis. So max to max, it's up to 30 on the daily basis.
30, right? And
Yes.
30 patient details you have added to the queue, right? Now, let's say
Uh,
someday what
queue.
happens? Let's say someday what happens? The performer is down. Okay. Your
Hmm. Hmm.
performer is, you have added, let's say 30 items to the queue, right? And now the performer is not able to execute because of some system exception or any technical issues, right? What happens to these
Okay.
30 items which are added to the queue?
Okay. So when we added the items to the queue, thus bot should add the status of the particular item as a new item.
Yeah.
But when the bot is yeah, or anytime the if the application is not responding, then it will give to the system exception with the exception message
Hmm.
to us. Then
Hmm.
we need to we have to mention a auto retry action enable in our queue items, so
Hmm.
it will retry after some time according to the schedule time.
Okay. So we have 30 items to the queue, right? And dispatcher is down, right? Now, technically, if you see this, right, there is no point in running all the 30 items, right?
Yes.
If the first item is failing with system exception, second is also failing, retry is also failing, then what do you think?
Mm.
Should I go and retry all the 30 items?
No, then it will after the timeout exception, then it will be go to the in the failed state,
Yeah, that's fine,
not
right?
in.
So out of
Mm,
the 30 items, first item got into the
mm.
failed stage. Now what will the
Yes.
performer do? It will go to the next item.
Uh, it will go to the next item and check the status of that item.
Yes, it will be new, right?
Yes, it if it is new, then it will pick the that
Hmm.
item for transaction
So
processing.
my requirement is simple, right? I do not want to run all the 30 items from my queue, right? My requirement is
Yes.
simple. If I get, let's say, three system failures, or let's say five
Mm.
system failures, I do not want to touch the remaining 25 items.
Yes.
So how do I do that?
Okay.
Understood the question?
So uh, please ask again.
You have 30 items in the queue, right?
Yes.
First item failed
Yes.
with system exception, second failed with system exception, third, fourth, fifth failed, right? So technically,
Yes.
now there is no point in running all the remaining 30 items, right? Because it's going to fail. So I want to write a
Yes.
logic, or I want to implement something that as soon as the five items are failing because of system exception, I do not want to touch the
Mm.
sixth item because it's going to
Mm.
fail, right? So there is no point in running the queue.
Yes. 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 Mm.
How do you do
Okay.
that?
Uh, for this, when here we can uh, try with the auto retry method,
Mhm.
if or with the count. Okay.
So auto retry is only for one transaction.
Yes.
I'm talking about all the transactions, right?
All the
Hmm.
transaction. Yes. So here we can go with the count procedure. Okay. If uh,
Mhm.
uh, okay. Hmm. We can here manage the count. We can make here a count variable, which means if uh, the status of my output sheet where we just added the failed or successful items, then we can count if the count is particularly more than 5 or more than 4, we can add the to stop the execution point here,
But where you will write this if condition in RE framework.
where we just get the in the get transaction data process.
Mhm. Okay.
We just make a if condition and make a count variable for this, and if the particular the consecutively 5 items which are failed, then our performer should not work.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. So, in I heard that you have done good processes into document understanding. Okay. I am
Yes.
working for a client, and that client has a different kind of invoices, right? So the client is receiving different kind of invoices. There are various vendor, right? So every vendor has a different set of invoice. When I am sending you, my format is different. Different companies sending, my format is different, right? Now I have
Yes.
to configure the document understanding to handle the different variation of the invoice layouts because different company
Yes.
and different supplier has a different layout, right? So how do I configure this into document understanding? What all things we would require? Where can we get started?
Okay, so document understanding help us to extract the information from the scanned or structured or unstructured data documents,
Yeah.
just like that scanned PDFs or images.
Hmm.
We can extract the text information from
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
documents in the DU,
Mhm.
and uh, when the when we working with the DU, so we have to just learn it is just work as a AI model where we have to just classify, where we have to just need to learn the bot how many types or how much type of documents we have to work on, and just learning that PDF formats to our bot,
No,
or
that's
to
not an
our
answer to my
AI
question, right?
model.
You are explaining me what is document understanding. My question
Mhm.
is, I have 10 suppliers. Okay. The 10
Yes.
suppliers have given me 10 kind of invoices, right?
Yes.
Now, I
Yes.
want to write a document understanding automation or flow where the automation should take care of all the 10 different kind of
Hmm.
invoices, right? How do I do it in UiPath? Technically.
Okay. Okay. So,
Understood the question?
yes, understood the question. Okay, we have 10 different formats documents,
Hmm.
uh, and we process all the documents by using the DU.
Yeah,
So how we can do that?
correct, correct.
So for this, when we have to just make a 4 to 5 we can say 4 to 5 matlab we need to identify the 4 to 5 different type of formats documents, and to uh, process the workflow by using the DU, and one by one with each format. Then by this
How do we
our
do that? How do we train
uh,
the DU to work on each and every format?
by using classification and extraction, by using the form extractors or ML extractors we are using for
Yes. In
this.
this situation,
We
which extractor you will use?
machine learning extractors we are using for this to train the different kind of documents.
Okay. So when
Mm,
you go and use the ML extractor, right? So where are you going to train, right? Are you going to train it in UiPath Studio? Are you going to train it in Orchestrator? How would you train it, right? What are the steps to train?
we are okay. We are going in the UiPath Studio. We are
Hmm.
going to by using the ML extractor
Okay.
activities.
Hmm. ML extractor is to extract, right? But we have to train it first, right? Where
Yes,
would you
we have
train?
to train.
Hmm.
Uh, we are using the train activities for this in the classification also, and in the extraction also.
No, but every time if the train activity is part of the document understanding flow, right? So every time you run the automation, it's going to again
Mhm.
retrain, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
should be outside
Then
the.
we can train all the documents in the orchestrator also, in the document understanding part, where uh, we have to just uh, provide the all the documents to upload on DU part in
Do
on the
you have do
orchestrator.
you have document understanding on Orchestrator?
And, we have to just enable the DU part on the orchestrator,
Mhm.
and
But we don't have DU in Orchestrator, right? In Orchestrator, we have tenant, folder, machine, robots. Where do you see DU?
uh, where we okay. Uh,
You're getting the question? Where is document understanding? It's not there, right? Into Orchestrator.
so for this, what we can do,
Hmm.
it's one option for to train the on the UiPath Studio only. We train the boards from by using the some train activities.
We don't have any train activity in UiPath. Have you used it?
Okay.
Have you used any train activity in UiPath? Okay, no problem. We'll skip
Okay.
this topic, right? Let's move
Mm.
forward. Okay. So,
Mm.
I am writing an automation today. Okay. And I have an Excel. In that Excel, I have
Okay.
a huge set of data, let's say 10,000 records, right? Now, from the 10,000 records, I need to generate a monthly sales report. So I have a data
Okay.
dump, right? You can imagine of an Excel that Excel is having a lot of data saying that let's say I'm a computer company and I'm selling keyboard, mouse, laptop, monitors, right? So it shows all the data of keyboards, all the data of computers, all the data of mouse, all the data of monitors, right? There is a huge Excel, right? Now I want to simply create a report saying that January I sold 10 keyboards, I sold 5 mouse, I sold 20 monitors, I sold 7 laptops, right? Out of that
Hmm.
bulk of data, I want to create a monthly report, right? How
Okay.
can we approach this problem? You understood the
Okay.
question?
So yes, I understand the question.
Okay.
We have an Excel file in which loads of data,
Hmm.
and we need to make a report monthly wise. How
Yes. Yeah.
many items I sold in a
Correct.
month? Then we okay.
Right.
So first of all, we need to read the Excel file.
Got it.
We make a flow and need to read the Excel file,
Mhm.
and then
So I read an Excel file. What do I get as an output?
uh, with string variable, then we make a
Mhm.
variable from the Excel file, and we the variable output is in the string type.
Okay. And then what do I do
So
with that string?
then we need to extract all the information from the Excel by using a we need to execute a for loop for this,
But
and
how would you execute
uh,
a for loop on a string?
okay, so okay, sorry for that, because it is a data table type variable.
Okay.
Uh, uh,
Hmm.
so we need to execute the for loop in that variable,
Mhm.
and uh, execute the each and every information from the Excel file. Uh, if I
Mhm.
need to mention h- how many laptops or how many mouse I need to I sold in this month, we make a report, just like
But
we need to execute
for each won't help, right?
here. Means it's we need to we need to try to execute from the each and every row in the for each row.
Okay.
Okay,
In your
if the
resume, you have mentioned that you have done link queue.
yes.
How can I use link queue, right? Because the problem which I ask you, it's a
Hmm.
clear use case of link queue. In your resume, you have
Yes,
mentioned that identified that the use of link queue query can reduce the length of the code, right? That's true. Now,
yes.
you are telling me that I'm going to do a for each loop, right? Which is going to take more
Hmm.
time.
Yes.
What happened to link queue?
By link queue, we can shrink our code, or and execution time is faster by link queue.
Okay.
Then here we can define our data variable to the link queue,
So if I
and
have to use link queue, right? How can
yes.
which link queue method or anything, right? How can I use it?
Okay, so we can here apply a method
Mhm.
for the we can apply here function for this.
Yeah, function method, anything.
Uh,
Yeah, what is that?
yeah, yes, it's uh, by select all the oh, sorry by choose all the columns from the Excel sheet here,
Mhm.
and we need to uh, process. So in the Excel file, we need to verify the s- just make an another Excel file in, or we need to choose the all the items from in this Excel file.
No, but that does not help, right? Okay, anyways,
Mm,
in your resume, right, you have mentioned that you have done some of the AI projects, something related to sentiment analysis also, right?
yes.
Sentiment analysis integrated with ChatGPT 3.5, right? Uh,
Mm.
what do you mean by sentiment analysis?
It was a just like that an NRC and UCC type projects. It
Mhm.
was
Okay.
where we have to just got the information from various type of emails. Just
Mhm.
it was on emails in the Hindi, Sanskrit, it's
Hmm.
in Punjabi emails,
Hmm.
where we have to just got the different type of emails where analysis of about the NCC, URC, NCC sentiments are there.
Hmm.
We have to just find out the whether the particular sentiment in the positive way or negative way, where we have to
Hmm.
just where we just help from the chat gpt to gather the information. It is just in the positive or negative way, or it is in the neutral way.
Okay.
So
Whenever we talk,
we
okay,
just
that's correct. That's correct. I'll stop you there,
Hmm,
and I want to ask a more
hmm,
question, right? To follow up question to that.
hmm.
Whenever we say sentiment analysis, right, and you mentioned ChatGPT 3.5,
Yes,
information which you have received on email is a sensitive information, right? It's
yes,
the client customer information. Now, when I upload it to 3.5, it means that I am uploading data directly to the internet. I'm uploading directly data to ChatGPT, which is an OpenAI, right? So,
yes.
how do I protect my data, right? Because directly uploading data to the ChatGPT does not make sense, right? ChatGPT use it for an own training and all, right? And you cannot just directly put the customer email into ChatGPT.
It was a demo model part of our project, uh, s- not in the uh, that means that sensitive information which we received are not in the correct way, or not in the open uh, users, where we identify the users and all the information means. So that's why we are using the chat gpt to get the
Hmm.
analysis on those comments.
Okay, so let's park ChatGPT for a while, right? So let's say I have given you an automation, okay,
Mm,
and that
mm,
automation is dealing with a lot of sensitive data. Example,
mm.
your patient care use case, which you just told me, right? Now, that patient
Yes,
information is all confidential data, right? Patient
yes,
information, what disease, what is his credit card number, address, phone number, right? A lot of personal details of the patient, right? How
yes.
in your automation are you handling this sensitive information?
Okay, so we are uh, uh, we are handling this kind of automation because in every organization have a different servers and different share just like that, shared portals.
Mhm.
We have also a shared libraries where we just use the output there, and to put the output there, not uh, and also with the some credentials are part also there. We need to extract the information, not anyone to take
No, but your automation
all.
is using the data, right? As a developer, you have the access,
Yes, I have the access, and all the access are on the credential basis.
right? So why the developer should have access to patient data, right?
Uh, because authentication is a necessary part
No, no, I
in
got
each.
your point. I got your point that we have credentials and everything, right? But your
Mm,
automation is using the data, right? Which means that your orchestrator having access to everything, right? I cannot just upload
yeah.
my patient data to UiPath robots, right?
Mm.
How do I prevent my sensitive information? You
we
understood the question?
we uh, we are using the some if work on the orchestrator, then we can use the assets for the credential managing.
No, that is
Oh,
for the portal, right? When you log in into the portal, you have the customer
yes.
information into the portal, right? When the robot is
Yes.
reading the information, all the customer personal, every information is with the robot, right? Now, if
Mm,
I am a auditor or if I am somebody who is, let's say, a solution architect, and I am coming to you and saying that, hey, developer, you have
mm,
read all this data into the UiPath robot. How
yes.
do you make sure that the data is not misused? It's not about credential, right? Credential is just to log in, right?
Mm,
But after you have read it, how do you make sure that the data is not uh, being misused?
mm.
Okay, cool. So we'll park this question
Not.
also.
Yes. Yes.
And then I have my last question to you is, Today, if I have to connect to an external system from UiPath,
Okay.
there is an external application, let's say a payment application. I have to connect that payment application from UiPath. How do we connect?
Means external application means any type of application which are
No,
not
no.
a part of.
Yeah. So let's say today, if I have to connect to Outlook, right? So I have Outlook activities. I have to connect to
Yes.
PDF. I have PDF activities. But now I work for
Yes.
a client, and that client gives me an application which is a banking application, right? Let's
Okay.
say ABC application, right? Now, how do I connect my ABC application to UiPath?
By using the URL and credential part, we
So,
are, we
hmm,
we need to require the username and password by using and URL also from the client side.
okay, okay, got it. Cool. So I'm done with my set of questions, right? So before I give my feedback, what do you think? How was your
Hmm.
interview?
It's very bad.
Okay. And why do you think so?
Because uh, some the questions which you ask me, it's just like that, how it if 10 different PDF format, so I didn't relate it to my any of the scenario,
Hmm.
so that's why I'm some hesitation in my mind to uh, 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 give the answer of that type of questions, and I also in the some doubtful mind.
Yeah. Okay. So let me
Yes.
come straight away to the feedback, right? So first of all, I think one thing which you should work upon is your comm skills, right? I can clearly see that
Yes.
you are getting the Hindi in between, right? It's fine to have
Yes.
Hindi, right? But when we, um, let's say your company is interviewing you for some, let's say Europe, US, or UK client, right? Then
Yes. Yes.
you cannot come with Hindi words in between, right? Because I could hear matlab, nahi, aisa, waisa, right? वो सब
Yes.
it does not work like that, right? So you need to work upon your communication. It won't happen immediately, but you need to eventually try to speak and try to make sure that you are able to phrase sentences well. Okay. One feedback is
Yes.
that, right? The second
Yes.
feedback is on your project, right? So you're a bit confused about attended, unattended, dispatcher, performer, right? Which should not happen.
Hmm.
When you say that I have
Yes.
made this project, you should know in and out of the project. Okay.
Yes.
I ask you a question about how do you actually go and manage that retry mechanism, right? You have given me an answer that I'll write an if condition in the get transaction data. Yes, that is
Hmm.
correct. But in the config, you have something which is called max consecutive system exception, which is there for
Yes.
last, I think, 2 years now, right? And which means that you are not up to the date with the robotics enterprise changes and you have not recently worked, right? Otherwise, it's a property in the config. You just set it to 5. After 5 retries, it will automatically go and stop the process, right? No need to write this if condition and all those things. Okay. In your introduction, you mentioned that you have worked on DU, right? In your CV also, you say that I have worked on DU. I ask you a simple question that how do we train it, right? Yes, ML extractor and all we can use, right? DU is not part of the orchestrator. There are two things. One is document understanding is part of the cloud. You can train it there, or you have to use the AI center. So if you are on an on-prem environment, then you have to train the things into the AI center. If you are using the document understanding in the cloud, then you have to use document understanding on the cloud, train it there, and then utilize the same model into UiPath Studio, right? No orchestrator there, right? Which means that your DU part is not strong. You need to rework and redo the things there, right? Next, coming to the Excel part. How do you read an Excel? What do you get? Your answer was string till the time I ask you that how do you loop, right? Basics. Next one is on the link queue, right? You have mentioned in your resume that I have done link queue, but you were not able to relate it to the problem statement, right? Most of the questions which I ask you are from your resumes only. The feedback is, which I tell everybody, if you're not able to answer the things from your resume, it creates a negative impression, right? So make sure you that have only the stuff which is mentioned in your resume, right? I ask you a question on the sentiment analysis that how do you make sure that the data is not being shared. There can be multiple answers for that. One simple answer is that In ChatGPT, you have the paid version of the GPT or the enterprise version where you say that I am just using the paid version and it does not go the data into the training. You can say that we are using it in a different approach of the on-prem environment. The on-prem will not work on ChatGPT, but yes, I'll just link it to the other question on the data sensitivity, right? That how do you handle the sensitive data? The simple answer for that is data masking, right? Whenever you are dealing with any sensitive data, you can actually mask the data. When I say mask the data, that before passing the any personal information or any health related information, you can actually mask the data and then pass it to the automation because you do not want to deal with the PII and the PHI. With the recent update, UiPath GenAI activities, you can handle with the GenAI activities. Otherwise, you need to write your own encryption algorithm to handle these use cases, right? Last question I asked you was on how do you connect to an external application, and you say that you are going to use the username and the password, right? Which is nothing but a UI automation. This is also correct, but at your experience, when you say that you have worked on so much, the first answer should be API because UI automation always has a drawback of getting the interface changes, then you need to redo the automation. So that's why we go and we use API. And by the way, you have also mentioned in your resume that I have worked on APIs, right? So the point here is you have mentioned a lot of things. You might have worked on it, but you're not able to find out that whether this is the right answer for that scenario, right? So what you need to do, you need to go back and revisit all your projects and redo the some of the learnings like document understanding for sure, RE framework a little bit, and link you and all of these things, whatever you have mentioned, right? And also, I would highly recommend you to do the advanced certification, not the associate one, because at your experience, associate does not make sense. You need to do the advanced certification as well. Okay. So, yes, that's my feedback to you. And now, if you have any questions for me, happy to answer. Okay, so if no more questions, I think then we are good to close. Thank you for joining and have a good day.